Hey y'all, welcome back to our channel. I'm Jan, this is June. June's not here today, so let's get to yapping. But first, I want to show you all the drinky poos that I have. So, I've got my kombucha that it's almost done. I've got my Stanley that is literally half full of water. So we're doing a good job today. So grab your drinky poo, grab your snack, do what you gotta do so we can yap about money today. So let's get started. Y'all should let me know what kind of information that you would like to know about Korea. Tell me anything, ask me anything, and I'll make a video about it if you'd like me to. So let's get into the video. Okay, so the tea is that I actually don't live in Seoul. Yeah, I don't live in Seoul. I live in the countryside. I live like 2.5 hours away from Seoul. It's not like the middle of nowhere. We have a town. Like, I don't live in like a village in a hut, but we have a great town and it's like super residential. There are a lot of small and like young families here. So it's really quiet. It's not as bustling as Seoul, but the tea is, as an American girly, there's not a lot of Americans here. So that's interesting, but it can be cheaper than Seoul in like many regards, but the tea is that there are a lot of ways that it can be actually a little bit more expensive than living in the city. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about our comparisons between living in Seoul to the countryside, also like how much I spend, my monthly breakdown and stuff like that, as well as comparing it to, the euro and the dollar and like how much I spend in living in general in Korea, so that you can have a good idea when you want to visit or potentially move here and see how well it can fit into your budget. So, yeah. But first, hi, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, welcome. It's so nice to have you here. Here on this channel, we talk about my life in Korea with my husband, and it's mostly me just yapping about like my expenses, my lifestyle, everything that happens and comes with the experience of living in Korea. But I also like to show you some vlogs and some lifestyle stuff that, goes on in our everyday life. And yeah, so recently we actually posted a very cutesy vlog about my first Korean market and visiting the cherry blossoms, like now that it's cherry blossom season. And we also have a really cute surprise at the end of that video. So if you want to check it out, it's right over here. So yeah, I do hope that you stick around. Don't forget to subscribe, and it's so nice to have you. Okay, moving on. Okay, so let's start with the big girl, my rent. All right, so my rent is around like 300 a month. Yeah, that's 300,000 won a month. And I would say it is like cheaper than living in Seoul and actually other big cities. One of the cities that I used to live in, the rent was, I believe, 600,000 won a month, and not including utilities, which was around like 150. So where we live right now is like pretty cheap compared to that. And like our utilities, I believe that last month I paid 103,000 won. So in total, I pay 400,000 won for rent. When in like another city like Dongtan, where I used to live, it was 700,000 won. And in Seoul, hold on. And in Seoul, I do believe that the minimum of rent is like 800,000 won. It could go up to 1.5 million won, which is like, it depends where you live, obviously, and like the size of your apartment. So we have a 2-bedroom apartment and we pay 400,000 won a month. So depending on where you live and the size of your apartment, it can vary. I mean, even in my Incheon apartment, I believe the rent was like 500,000 won plus 300,000 of utilities, which is like a lot. So that's basically like living in Seoul. It depends on where you live in your big city. So obviously, because I live in a small town, I pay less for rent. Like, we pay less for rent. But don't get too excited yet, because what we don't pay in rent, we pay in other things. Isn't that wonderful? Because everything costs money. But overall, I mean, there's no screaming neighbors, and my small town is really cute. I get to ride my little bike all the time. I just got a puppy, so life is good, and we get to go on really cute walks, and no one bothers me. So that's really great. I don't live in Seoul because it's really overwhelming. There's so many people there. It's so like oversaturated, and it's like very overstimulating for an introvert like myself. So I'm happy that I don't live there, but again, there are expenses that do add up in different places. So why don't we talk about them? Yeah? Speaking of expenses that add up in other places, I shop very local for like all of my groceries, which is very Nara Smith of me. Thank you. I know.
Now you have been promoted. You are now one of my elite employees.
It's not cutesy when I have to pay 13,000 won for an avocado. Yeah, that's the tea. Or when I have to pay like 17,000 won for a steak. And y'all, my husband is a gym rat. He eats. The man eats. Like we do groceries every 2 weeks. We are always running out of meat. That's what we're always running out of. And that's the most expensive thing here. So unfortunately, like living in the countryside, we have great cheap rent, but the groceries, the fruits, the meats, like all of that is way more expensive because like the people, it's either coming in from a bigger place, like especially like steak. They don't really have a lot of Korean steak here, so it's imported from Australia or America. That's way more expensive than it would be in the States or wherever, right? And for the fruits, I mean, in general, fruits and everywhere in Korea is going to be more expensive than it is like anywhere else in the world. But especially on the countryside, it does come from like farther places. So it's like really inconvenient to get here, and therefore it is more expensive. I think like watermelon, I saw a watermelon once that was like 30,000 won. 30,000 won for a watermelon? It wasn't even like a big one. Like, you know, y'all, I'm from Florida, so like we have like the crates in Walmart. It's like a big ass box with like all the watermelons like stacked up, and it's like I can't remember how much it is because I haven't been there in ages. But like, you know what I mean? Like that's super cheap compared to 30,000 won for like not even a medium-sized watermelon, and half the time it's bitter. Be for real. I can't do it. I love me some like cheap, delicious, like great groceries and like just the vibe, you know? But here, I mean, even whether you live in Seoul or whether you live in the countryside, it's going to be expensive. But especially if you live outside of Seoul, it is super inconvenient. So, yeah, I wish I could give you like a full average of what we spend a month, but let's say that we do groceries twice a month. Like, yeah, we do groceries twice a month, and we spend almost 200,000 won every single time we do groceries. So it's about 400,000 won. And that's like, you know, obviously we don't ever have like the same groceries. Like we, you know, try to switch it up here and there. But it is pretty expensive compared to like how much we would spend in Seoul or like in another country if we were just like a couple living by ourselves. But again, I have to mention that my husband's a gym rat, so no matter what, I'm gonna be spending money on food because the man eats like a freaking vacuum cleaner, like the one in the Teletubbies. Yeah, that's literally him. So, yeah, just be aware of that. Okay. Transportation. All right, y'all. You guessed it, there ain't no subway here, bestie. So you know what I'm doing. I'm walking, I'm using my bike, I'm doing literally anything else because the buses here, like I usually use Naver Map, which y'all, if you're coming to Korea, you need to download Naver Map because Google Maps does not work here. So download Naver Map. Mine is in English. You can put it in English and you can literally search up like all your little stuff and you can save it so you can come visit and do whatever you need to do, right? Naver Map is super convenient because every single time that you're going to go anywhere, it'll show you like the different forms of transportation that you can take, right? So you plug it in, like you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go to Muse Clinic Gangnam, which is my favorite facial place, by the way. I'm gonna go to the news clinic Gangnam, and then it'll show you like take this bus, take this bus, take this train, whatever, and it'll show you literally like, okay, I just took this train, so it like the next train is gonna be here in like 5 minutes, right? Y'all tell me why whenever I look up any buses in this neighborhood, it does not show up. That's wonderful. Great. So I have to walk or taxi. Taxi isn't that expensive, but I'm sure as hell not going to waste my money all the time getting a taxi. So it literally never shows up in my town, and it's like it shows up once in a blue moon. I see them. That's the problem. I see them passing by. They just don't exist. Like I don't know. Like the schedule, I have no idea. So I always just walk my dog, my cute little puppy Rocky. I walk my dog, or I like bike, or I taxi if I have to taxi. Like I figure it out. But there ain't no subway here, and like yes, I'm saving on transportation, but it's not that expensive, guys. Like I literally went to Hongdae the other day, and I was going from Myeongdong to Hongdae, which is like a good like 15-20 minute train ride, and I spent 2,400 won. Like it's not that expensive. It's not like I'm saving millions of dollars over here by not having transportation, right? It's inconvenient, but y'all know my legs look good though. The legs look good, the booty look good. Free cardio, what can I say? So why am I complaining? Because I look good. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about bills. Yummy. Like I said earlier, my utility bills are like super cheap. The first month I came here, we paid like 77,000 won. Second month that we came, I think it was like 103,000, something like that. The utility bills in general are pretty cheap when it comes to Korea. At my first place, I paid 150,000 won in utilities. In my second place, I paid 300,000 won. It really depends where you live and the size of your apartment. But for the most part, it's like fairly cheap. I mean, compared to America, it's like so expensive. I don't know how y'all doing it, especially with that recession coming on. Lord bless y'all. Anyway, but the killer here is my Daiso runs, my coffee runs. I try to get coffee like once a week, max. But I mean, it's not that expensive because for the most part, like I'll get an Americano, which is like 1,000 to 2,000 won, like super cheap here. But if I'm getting a cute little latte, if I'm going to a cute little Starbucks, it'll add up a little bit. You know, I paid 14,000 won for a sandwich and a Starbucks cold brew the other day, you know, but I don't regret it because I ate that and it was good. And then I edited my video, which y'all should be watching. Yeah? T. And matter of fact, if you're not subscribed, what are you doing? What are you doing? Thank you. Join the fam. Let's go. So, yeah. The coffee runs, the Daiso runs. The Daiso runs are the worst because I always walk in for one thing. It's like a sponge. And then I come out with a whole basket. But it's okay. We're doing our best. And I'll never regret a Daiso run. It is just like, it's definitely cheaper here. Like Daiso, I think is cheap anywhere. Honestly, I'm pretty sure they have the same prices. It's like 1,000 won to like 10,000 won. I mean, obviously it depends on what you buy, but for the most part, Daiso is the same price. I mean, Starbucks is the same price. If you're gonna go like anywhere, Starbucks is expensive, but like the small cafes, I always pay so much cheaper. Like Seoul has really aesthetic cafes, and like they're obviously more expensive because of the location. There's so many more tourists, so things like that really add up, and then it makes it so that like even if you're just gonna go grab like a random coffee, it is gonna be a little bit more expensive than here. But for the most part, like living in a small town, even if I go get coffee like twice or 3 times a week instead of 1 time a week, like it's not going to make that much of a dent in our budget, you know? So that is really convenient. And like it is also really nice because I can go to the same cafe and like get the same thing, and then like people start to get to know you, and then like there's just more sense of community that way, I think, and it's just really convenient and really nice. So we're not really like going out girlies, but it is really common for people who do like to go out clubbing or like, you know, dancing or whatever. Like I have met people like in Itaewon who have mentioned to me that they live 2.5 hours away and they come to Seoul every other month and stuff like that. So it is like an option. Like it's totally normal to live away from the city and then like come visit all the time. Like that's super normal and it is very feasible. Now the question is like, you know, are you gonna go out like if you're gonna go to Seoul and you live 2.5 hours away, like you're gonna have to go out all night and then wait until the 5:30 a.m. bus, or you know, you just figure it out and get a hotel. But I mean, at the end of the day, it is all just money, right? So that is something that you need to consider. And then finally, like the surprise expenses that we experience, like imported goods is really inconvenient. We have coupon here, which I got really used to, unfortunately for me, because whenever I lived in my last two cities that I used to live in, like it was super convenient for me to get coupon. Like basically it's like Amazon Prime where it comes the next day, or like it's like 24-hour shipping. So it's like super easy to get whatever you want at your fingertips. Like even groceries, I didn't go where I used to live. I just ordered all my groceries like it was Instacart. Like I would just get it in the morning, like, or order my groceries the night before and then get them all in the morning and pack them before I go to work. Like it was super, super convenient, super easy. But here I can't do that because it's out of range. Like where I live is out of range for coupons. So I mean, there are pros and cons. Like I do have to just like go get my groceries so my legs look fire, but like at the same time, like girl, I want to order my groceries, you know, or I want to get sourdough bread, which is something that I could only ever get from coupon. So that is like kind of annoying, but you know, we're going through it, we're working through it. And like even when you go to Seoul, like I said, like no matter what you do, it is going to be like a whole travel day to get there. Whether you live like an hour or 2 hours away, it is going to take so much time out of your day. And I love a good road trip. Like I'm a good road trip girly. I like a good book while I'm on the bus, but you know, it does come at a price. It does come at a cost. Like it is so much money to, not so much money, but it is money that you have to like consider. Like 10,600 won is what I usually pay to get to Seoul, 2.5 hours away. And that's not even counting how much I'm going to spend to get on the train or like the bus there to get to my location where I'm going to meet whoever, to pay for the coffee that I'm going to drink, to pay for the food that I'm going to eat for lunch or dinner, to go for the drinks or like whatever, or if I decide to stay there, to pay for the hotel or the hostel. Like it is all just like money, money, money. So it is inconvenient to go there, but like I've said, I'm an introvert, so I don't really mind not living in Seoul, and I only ever go once every other month. But if you know you're a city girl, then you know that like the countryside is not for you, and you're not gonna like it if you're outside of Seoul. But you know, I'm a suburbs girly, so I really don't mind it. So really the question is living in the Korean countryside cheaper than living in the city or in Seoul? Yes, kind of, but it's way more than that. It's softer and calmer and a way more romanticized version of my life. I am so blessed with like the beauty of living in a small town. I'm really, really happy where I am right now. And I accept that other people, you know, prefer the bustling city life and being girl bosses and living the pali pali lifestyle, but that's not for me. And I am really content that I found this place. So, you know, I think that's something that I didn't realize that I wanted or really needed until I left the city. And yeah, I'm really content. But are you a city girl? Do you think you're a city girl? Do you think that you could tough it out in the countryside? Y'all, I'm telling you, I don't live in the middle of nowhere. Like, I'm not living on the farms. It just means that I live in like with bigger parks. I have a big library and there's just like more space spread out in between like apartments. But like, I promise I'm not staring out at the rice fields. Okay. Like just, yeah. But let me know, are you more of a city girly or could you tough it out in the countryside the way I do? And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I love you so much. I'm so happy to have you here. And don't forget to like and subscribe, comment below. And yeah, share this to a friend who's really interested in moving to Korea or like living in Korea, traveling to Korea. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more life abroad chaos. See you later. I love you.